we welcome you live to the Mustang Corral here at Edgewood High School as the Mitchell Bluejackets and the Edgewood Mustangs get set to do battle here in the season opener to kick off 2019. Glad you could join us for Edgewood Mustang football here on Smithville Sports alongside Quinn Saturday. I am Nick Jenkinson. And Quinn, here come the Edgewood Mustangs, an 8-4 team last year, and a lot of uncertainty headed into 2019.
Yeah, Edgewood is kind of in a bit of a transition period at the moment. We've always known Edgewood as a team who will just run the ball right at you and be like, stop it. Now, with their main returning core, they lost Levon Bellamy, who was amazing in his 1 year. They also lost a couple of receivers as well. Their offense is a little bit more fluid, and we're not 100% sure how they'll go about it. But the one thing we do know that is back is quarterback Skylar Curtis, who had an awesome year and gives Edgewood its first quarterback in a while who can threaten you with his arm and his legs.
1,167 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 111 carries, 622 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And not to mention that he and a couple other guys played on that state runner-up baseball team that lost to Indiana in the Class 3A state finals. We will talk about that as more. We've also got John Mclaughlin's another kid to watch out for. A kid that came back, 14 carries, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5th best. Receiving's the question with Shane Wickens is their top guy. He was 5th on the team, 7 receptions, 38 yards, and a touchdown. But one of the X factors this year, we just found out Parker Harrington.
Yeah, Parker Harrington, as our viewers would know, played basketball, not last season, but the year before. For his senior season, he's going to try out football, and he will be a receiver. And for a team that, like I said, had its top 2 receivers graduate, there are going to be plenty of receptions to go around. But like I said, we don't know exactly which way the offense is going to go. Mclaughlin, don't forget, he was the starting running back during his sophomore year, the year before last, when Bellamy came in and took over that starting position. So he is definitely more than capable of being that bell cow now. So it'll be very interesting to see the offensive approach from Coach Rosenberg.
For Mitchell, they come in to this game last season. They were 6-5. Their 3rd straight winning season under Troy Pritchett. They've got 28 kids on that sideline over there for Mitchell. So they're going to have their hands full. This series, Edgewood leads it all time 11-7. The last 4 years, 5 years now, these two teams have played. It's been tied at 2. Edgewood won in 2015. Edgewood won last year in 2018. Mitchell won in 2016 and 2017. But one thing to note from last year's game, of course, Levon Bellamy graduated 3 touchdowns. Mitchell was only threw 3 times and did not complete a pass last year. So it will be interesting to see as Edgewood's going to get the ball first, to see if Mitchell continues with that running power game or they actually going to have to go to the air. As we're getting ready to go here, Mitchell in the white with the gray pants, Edgewood in the all black, and we are set to go here from the red field. Yes, red field here at the Mustang Corral. And that is down. That was Shane Wickens, number 1. And now Skylar Curtis will come out and lead this Edgewood offense.
As you mentioned, we were excited to see which way they go at. This might dictate, I think that this first play is really going to dictate their season in terms of which philosophy they're going to go with, if they're going to stay true to their running or if they're going to start passing. And with a 3 wide receiver set, 3 wide receiver set, it looks like we might be entering a new era of Edgewood football.
2 at the bottom, and it is going to be Skylar Curtis on the keeper. He gets a couple blockers. up toward the 35-yard line, just short of the first down.
Excellent job spreading out the offense. As I said, we don't know, and Mitchell doesn't know how this Edgewood offense is going to operate. So excellent first play call to try to spread out that offense. And then, as I mentioned, Curtis, a dual threat quarterback, able to get a nice chunk of yards on that first play.
Gain of 8 for Curtis, 2nd and 2 at the 34. This will be the handoff up the middle. Gets a short gain. Looks like Brody Schaefer, number 34. He's a junior. Did not see really any time last year on the varsity, but he is going to be another kid, another X factor, Quinn, for this Edgewood team. Going to have to carry the load at running back.
Bellamy was the definition of the main back last season, and so though you have Mclaughlin in that role from last season, you will have quite a few players trying to make up for the loss of production.
And Schaefer gets taken down for a loss on a 3rd and 2 play, and now Edgewood looks like they will punt.
A little surprised that they didn't go for pass. They were definitely in running down in distances, but would have liked to see them maybe try to go to the air there early on.
As Edgewood back deep to punt. This is a nice punt. And that's going to take a good roll. That's going to be down at the 27. Number 20 for Edgewood was Blake Love. He's a 5'11 junior. So now Mitchell will get their first shot to run their offense. As we look at the coaches, Troy Pritchett, 27 and 28 in his 6th year at Mitchell, 49 and 50 and 10 years overall, coached at West Washington from 1997 to 2005, winning seasons overall. One receiver for Mitchell. And here it is. It is the quarterback. And he gets a nice block to the outside. That is Nathan Reynolds for the Blue Jackets, 5'9", 150-pound junior.
And while we talk about a transition and an unpredictability in terms of what the Edgewood offense will become, Mitchell has been the same thing for a while, and as the last 3 years have shown, have found success with it. They will run the ball down your throat with no apologies.
2nd and 8. They ran last year 45 times for 185 yards and 1 touchdown. This is Reynolds again. Gets past the 30 before he is brought down. It's going to be a gain of 3. 3rd and 5 at the 32. Mitchell, their whole goal is to just chew up clock. Keep running their offense, keep grinding, and chew up as much clock and keep Edgewood's defense on the field as possible. That is a run. That is 45. Dorian Duncan, he's a 6-foot senior for the Blue Jackets and gets to the 35.
Excellent 3 and out by the Edgewood defense. It's always a pain, especially early in the year. You're getting into that conditioning. You get that first action of adrenaline. You don't really want to be facing a team that's just going to be so brute like that. And an excellent job. They look like they were going to decide to try to get them to come off sides, and they did.
And that is a penalty on the Mustangs. And that will give Mitchell the automatic first down.
And that was literally the only reason why they set up thing, using the adrenaline of the defense being the season opener to their advantage to get that.
As you see, they are going to run it right up the gut, and that is Duncan, and he gets just past midfield.
Duncan finally getting to break one. Gets a nice chunkage of yards, and you notice there's always that feeling of momentum. It's something that we talk about. It's one of those intangibles that we talk about, and you've gone from 4th and 2 to now all the way up to midfield now, just based on one penalty.
And right at midfield is Edgewood. Here's the first power for as Mitchell. First pass is complete, and that is Dane Pritchett, number 9. He is a senior as well for the Blue Jackets.
And a very well placed pass. Just a nice curl route underneath the receiver's much longer route, and able to get the first down.
A 12-yard pass play, ball at the 38. Now you see Mitchell, they always kind of do that stand up and then go back to the snap, and they're going to throw it again over the middle and almost picked off. And that was number 20, Blake Love.
And very interesting that when we kind of mentioned this set in stone, but a really nice look from Mitchell early in the passing game. Bit of a telegraphed pass that almost led to an interception, but very surprised. As we said, a team that only threw 3 times last season, already having thrown twice, one for a first down, one not so successful, but still very interesting mix-up.
Now they go right back to the run, and that's Duncan with the carry. He's going to get past the 35. They're going to get it to the 34, 3rd and 6, gain of 4 for Duncan. Already 3 carries for Duncan for 17 yards. Mitchell so far 0 for 1 on 3rd down. Man in motion. That is a pass incomplete. That is Luke Lefevre, number 18.
That definitely looked like a planned pass where a quarterback is supposed to immediately take it in the drop back, kind of expect where the rush is coming from. The offensive line kind of lets the defense kind of seep in a little bit and throw to an intended spot, but whether it was because they were jammed on the line by the lineman or linebacker, excellent job in preventing the receiver from getting there, causing an incomplete pass.
Now they're going to pitch it, and Edgewood is going to get the stop as Reynolds with the carry, and he got stopped. It's going to be a turnover on downs.
Was definitely worth it to go on for it there. Kind of in that in-between where a punt is only going to go about like 20, 25 yards at best, or it'll go for a touchback. So, well worth it. Just an excellent stop by the Mustang defense.
Just that 1 yard gain on that play. So Curtis, second drive for Edgewood. They get the ball at their own 33. 3 receivers, top of your screen. As Curtis rolling, and he's going to take off, and he fumbles the ball, and Mitchell recovers. So a run for Skylar Curtis, and he fumbled it, and Mitchell recovers, and the Blue Jackets get it right back.
Second big mistake so far for the Edgewood Mustangs, and right there is a situation where Curtis tried to do way too much. There was obviously no one open, so he was trying to buy time. That's a situation where you just throw it away and move on to second down. And now Mitchell basically back having the ball back right where they had it.
Get the ball out there. Own 34. There's a pass. Pressure coming. And Lefevre has to take off with it, and he gets down near the 30. Good pressure by the Mustangs.
Really liking this new offensive look from Mitchell. We've always seen them in the years that we've worked. I think this is the most time they have ever dropped back to pass, and we're halfway through the first quarter.
Well, they're 1 for 3 so far in the passing game. 3 against Edgewood just 3 times last year and didn't complete a pass. Now there is Duncan. He stiff arms a couple guys, and now he is down inside the 15.
Duncan, definitely one of those bulldozing types of running back who you have to wrap up or else he will just shed your tackle easily.
Gets down to the 13-yard line. Gain of 19 on that play. So Mitchell in the red zone for the first time tonight. And Lefevre, he's just got to pick it up off the ground. He's going to run straight forward and get down to the 5-yard line.
Making the most of the opportunity. Basically, the entire defense kind of went lax seeing the ball on the ground, and that let him just, find a nice little hole and get about a 7-yard gain.
They're going to mark him down at the 6. As you mentioned, a 7-yard pickup. Last year, Edgewood won this game 26-7. As Duncan is going to power his way into the end zone for a Mitchell touchdown.
And basically went in there untouched. That was just amazing blocking from the Mitchell offensive line. Basically stood up the defensive line. When the defensive line, you always want to kind of stay a little bit lower so that you can try to get around them. If an offensive line is able to stand you up, you've lost all momentum, basically, and that's what the offensive line did.
So the Blue Jackets on the board. They're going to go for 2 here. They're going to get it to the edge, and he's going to push his way, and the run is no good, as that was Nathan Reynolds.
And that's a situation where your blockers are, even though the blockers are kind of setting you on the right path for that way, that would have been a situation where I would have liked to see the runner cut back in, because there was quite a bit of room because everything was going to the right. There would have been an easy 2-point conversion if he would have cut back to the left.
As you see the Mitchell Bluejackets on the sidelines with Troy Pritchett, their coach. A successful Class 2A. They're in the Patoka Lake Conference, along with Crawford County, Paoli, Perry Central, Springs Valley, West Washington. As you see the home stands here at Edgewood High School. Of course, second year with these new home side bleachers. Beautiful night for football, and also a new concession and restroom area, which is very nice, and locker rooms, part of this new upgrade here at Edgewood High School the last couple years. And yes, we also have to mention this red field that came in last year. Edgewood was 3-3 on this red field a season ago. Wins over Cascade, Owen Valley, and Madison. Losses to Northview, Indian Creek, and then East Central in the sectional championship game.
And to be fair, the 3 teams they lost to were no slouches. So I still think that I would count that their home that it was a success in terms of their home record last year, because those were some pretty tough teams that they had to face.
They also scrimmaged Bloomington North last Friday night here on the red turf, and North was able to keep Edgewood out of the end zone all night, and North scored 8 times. So Edgewood's going to get the ball back, and here we go as it's picked up and taken down at the 30-yard line. I think looking at 26 for Edgewood, that's Tristan Bland for the Mustangs. Bland, the son of former head coach Jerry Bland. He's a senior this year. He had a kickoff return for a touchdown last year in the game we did against Owen Valley. One of the guys that the Mustangs will have to rely on this year on the offense. There's the handoff. That's Brody Schaefer. As he gets it to the 34-yard line. Gain of 1 for Schaefer. Edgewood yet to make a pass attempt in this game. As now they do, and Wickens just drops it on the pass from Curtis.
Yeah, that just hit him right in the hands. Definitely seems to be quite a bit of nerves right now going for the Mustangs. They just need to try to settle things down. This is going to be a huge down right here. Whether or not they get the first down isn't necessarily important. They just need to get a lot more relaxed and into the groove.
Ball at the 33-yard line, 3rd and 9. As Curtis going to drop back, and now he's going to have to take off. He's got blindside. He just floats it up there, and then that's intended for Wickens as Nathan Reynolds got a hand on it.
The pass, I do want to say that even though the pass was almost intercepted, that was amazing quarterback awareness by Curtis, because you saw he was able to tell that someone was coming from his blind side and was able to get out. Granted, that the fact that someone was on his blind side did delay and caused the receiver to end up being covered, but still, excellent job to at least give your receiver a chance to get away from the pressure and give your receiver a chance.
Derek Davis is going to punt it away for Edgewood. Gets a nice punt, and that goes out of bounds around the 30-yard line. So far, 2 punts for Edgewood, and they have both been downed or gone out of bounds. So good job so far by the Edgewood punter.
And like I said, you can literally pinpoint the mistakes that have happened so far that has that's kind of kicked Edgewood in the foot. The 4th down and 2 jumping off sides, the fumble, and then right there the dropped pass.
And this is a play for Duncan, and he gets out near midfield, and they're going to move the chains as Duncan, it's his 3rd run of at least 10 or more yards.
Duncan's a big dude, 6 foot 210. That's quite a bit, especially when he's going at full speed to try to take down.
He gets out to the 48. So gain of 11 and another first down for the Blue Jackets. Lefevre is going to keep it, and he's going to get knocked out of bounds right at midfield. So ball is going to be marked right at midfield, 2nd and 8. Mitchell scrimmaged Bedford North Lawrence last week at Bedford. Edgewood scrimmage Bloomington North. Of course, next week our game, Bedford North Lawrence at Bloomington North. So we will get a look at those 2 teams. Duncan gets another first down past the 40-yard line.
Some amazing passages created by that offensive line. he's having clear wide holes that are letting him stride in at top speed immediately, which has ending up into these 8 or 9 yards without even getting touched.
Fourth carry over 10 yards or more for Duncan. And this time it will be Duncan. There's a flag in the backfield. As
I believe that's probably going to be holding. Yep.
And it is. So this will move the Blue Jackets back.
And this is the kind of opportunity. Edgewood so far has been doing nothing but shooting themselves in the foot. This is an opportunity where Mitchell has made a mistake, and they need to take advantage of it. They cannot let Mitchell get a first down on this drive. Or another one, anyway.
Now they backed Mitchell all the way back to their own 49-yard line.
Well, the hold did occur behind the line of scrimmage.
So this is a pass that almost picked off again. This time Jake Rogers, the sophomore.
Pass defense really is coming to play after the, I don't want to say initial shock, but the little bit of a surprise seeing that the new Mitchell offense, see them adjust to it a lot better. Can definitely tell that this Edgewood defense a lot better against the pass than against the run.
As Mitchell takes their first time out of the game here, as you see the Blue Jackets in the huddle under Coach Troy Pritchett. Edgewood coached by Brian Rosenberg, 11-11 third year here at Edgewood, 3-7 in 2017, 8-4 last year. They lost to East Central 57-22 in the Class 4A sectional championship game. They realign every 2 years based on enrollment, tournament success factor, and Edgewood has gone back down to Class 3A. And they're in a sectional this year with Brown County, Owen Valley, Pike Central, Princeton, Sullivan, Vincennes, Lincoln, and Washington. And I know that the Mustangs are happy to be back in 3A instead of 4A because that was always a tough road to climb for Edgewood the last couple years. So a 2nd and 23 at their own 49. Mitchell now 1 for 4 passing, so they've thrown more in this game than they did against Edgewood last year. This will be a run for, guess who, Duncan, number 45. And he gets back to where he was before.
You can go ahead and tell that this offense runs on Duncan. Sorry, not sorry. But in all seriousness, he's shown to be a real X factor so far, and like I said, just a big body that just can't be taken down with just one person.
As he gets back to the Edgewood 37-yard line. Fifth time he's run over 10-plus yards. And this time he is tripped up in the backfield as Tristan Bland makes a big tackle.
Huge tackle by Tristan Bland. That pass run by Duncan had got them into third and manageable, making this a little bit nerve-wracking, but an excellent stop behind the line of scrimmage to set up a long 4th down.
And he's going to lose 2 on that one, and it will be at the 39. Mitchell looking to throw. They're going to, and that one is in and out of the hands of number 24 for the Blue Jackets, Nick Monday, the sophomore.
And also, again, an excellent job of contesting. While it did go through his hands, I do think that did get a hand on the ball. I do believe the cornerback did get a hand on the ball, or at least a fingertip.
So a 1st and 10 for Edgewood at their own 39. The second time the Blue Jackets have turned it over on downs. So far for Edgewood, it's been 2 3-and-outs, and then the Curtis fumble recovery, as he keeps it and gets out toward the 45-yard line. Gets it out to the 44-yard line, gain of.
And I think that's going to be the end of the quarter.
As it will be the end of the first quarter, as the Mitchell Bluejackets lead the Edgewood Mustangs 6-0 here on Smithville Sports.
You want reliable internet from a company you can trust to be there for you 24/7. Look no further than Smithville. With our local customer service and technical support, you'll be speaking with someone who lives and works in your community. And with Smithville's fibre optic internet, your connection will be fast, reliable and secure. Call us today at 800 742 4084 to experience the Smithville difference yourself. Smithville, the only internet you'll ever need.
As we welcome you back to the Mustang Corral here at Edgewood High School, Mitchell leads Edgewood 6-0 as we begin the second quarter. Glad you could join us for Edgewood Mustang football here on Smithville Sports alongside Quinn Saturday. I am Nick Jingison, and Quinn, for Mitchell, it is all run, as you said, on Duncan.
Yeah, that's definitely not a Starbucks team. This offense runs on Duncan. There you go. I was able to make it a lot better that time. Sorry, it's the first game of the season. I need to work better on my puns. But regardless of that, it was a very interesting first quarter because we didn't get to see nearly anything from Edgewood because they kept making mistakes that had caused them to not have a single first down. Meanwhile, Duncan has on 5 different occasions gained 10-plus chunks of yards on single runs and has been a huge factor in why Mitchell is leading.
As Skylar Curtis going to drop back, and he is sacked back at the 35-yard line.
Probably as a response to the fumble a couple possessions ago. Coach is probably telling him to hold on to the ball if a defender's coming after you and you don't have time to get rid of it.
Be a 3rd and 12. It's a loss of 7 for Skylar Curtis.
Still waiting for that first completion.
This is Curtis taking off, and he is past midfield. And a good run by Skylar Curtis down to the 45 of the Blue Jackets.
And the first down of the season for the Edgewood Mustangs. And as we said, he is a dual threat. He's able to work with his legs. Saw him meet, whether it was designed or not, just excellent recognition to immediately see the hole and dash right through it.
Good job by Skylar Curtis. I think a 17-yard gain on that one. And now it's open man for Skylar Curtis. One man to beat. And he gets wrapped up at the 1.
Wrapped up at the 1. That was Brody Schaefer, the running back, on a nice little just curl out of the back, just curl from right out of the backfield to circle around into the middle of the field, and there is no safety there at all for Mitchell, and that leads to a huge play for the Mustangs as they are knocking on the door to tying or getting the lead here. It's 1st and goal at the 1.
45-yard pass play to Brody Schaefer as Edgewood is at the 1. Curtis just going to keep it himself, and he is in for the Mustang touchdown.
And well-deserved, as he definitely stepped up here as soon as the second quarter started, from just taking the sack and not risking the ball to that huge run up the middle on the designed keeper and the beautiful pass that set up the 1-yard touchdown run by Curtis. And I feel like that's what we're going to see a lot of this season, is we're going to see a lot of Curtis making magic basically on offense, doing those kind of things, running the ball, passing it.
As that extra point good for number 16, Andre Atkins, a junior. Of course, he takes over the kicking duties for Austin Heckman, who graduated. So it is 7-6 now, as Edgewood on top of Mitchell. But as you mentioned, Gwen, that pass from Curtis to Schaefer, perfect. I mean, Mitchell, no defenders whatsoever to handle that, and then Curtis has punched it in.
And I feel like it was just the design of the play where they had the receivers on the outskirts, so you had your cornerbacks, and then you probably had your safeties shadowing those, and so there was nobody in the middle. Once he gets past the linebackers, there was nobody there. Luckily for Mitchell, they did delay the inevitable by dragging him down at the 1-yard line, but then Curtis able to get in for touchdown, and that might be our answer right now. Who's going to be that number 1 receiver? Schaefer showed some really good hands on that catch, so he may be not only a key running threat, but a key receiving threat for this Mustang offense.
5'9", 165 pounds, of course, did not see any time last year on the varsity. Now he's getting his chance with the graduation of Levon Bellamy, who is now Division II and Upper Iowa University in Fayette, Iowa. Coach Rosenberg basically called him a once-in-a-generation move-in this week. As Mitchell is going to take it, and it's going to get right out to the 25-yard line. So now it's going to be interesting to see how Mitchell responds to this.
I definitely expect to see Mitchell to try to become a little bit more aggressive here, now that they know that Edgewood has kind of gotten over their little jitters from the first quarter. I would like to see possibly a nice play action, maybe like a play action shot down the field maybe on this first or second play. Especially since we know that Mitchell is definitely dedicated to throwing the ball this season.
Looks like Tristan Bland had a little bit of a helmet issue. Now it is fixed. And it's 1st and 10 for the Blue Jackets at their own 26. This is Dorian Duncan, and he has got daylight. He's got 2 Edgewood defenders. He hesitates. He is down to the 25-yard line.
And nothing showcases that how hard it is to take him down when you realize that if there weren't 2 defenders down the field, I don't think Duncan gets tackled.
Well, he took that hesitation step too, and I think if he did not take that hesitation step, he would have been gone, because the Edgewood's defenders were closing right in on him. So he gets down to the 25 of the Mustangs.
Well over 100 yards now.
First and 10. This is Reynolds, and it's a big stop by Reese Novak, number 50, the junior, getting Reynolds in the backfield.
Nice run blitz. Definitely going to see, obviously you're going to try to mix it up, not rely on one running back at all times, but it looks like Mitchell's really going to have to depend on Duncan being able to carry the load here.
As there is the run for the Blue Jackets. Looks like that's Luke Lefevre with the carry. It's going to be a third down for Mitchell. Gain of 5. Ball at the Edgewood 22. It seems like when it's anybody else but Duncan, they don't really have a lot of success. I mean, Lefevre's gotten some yardage, Reynolds a little bit, but it seems like it's all Duncan at this point. Here comes Lefevre rolling out. He's going to take off, make an Edgewood defender miss. He's going to get to the corner, and he's going to get inside the 10-yard line.
And Lefevre, you can definitely tell, is a much better runner in open space than he is in between the tackles, as he was able to showcase right there that nice burst to the outside. And right now, this is an excellent response by Mitchell to get them down in the red zone, hoping to retake the lead.
It's like a 1st and goal at the 9. Lefevre 13 yards on that carry. And I would expect that they're going to go right to their bread and butter, and this is going to go
Duncan's
right to
in the
Duncan.
backfield.
And there he is. He's going to take the direct snap, and he's going to push forward down toward the 5-yard line.
Very interesting setup how they have it. They have basically 2 different players in the backfield at one time, and the snap is going to go to either one, is going to go to one or the other of them. And if Lefevre's back there, then it's likely going to be a pass. If anyone else is back there, you're going to most likely see a run.
It's going to be a gain of 3 for Duncan, and it's going to be at the 6, 2nd and goal for the Blue Jackets. Just over 8 minutes left here in the first half. Stay tuned. We'll have a great halftime feature for you as we kick off the 2019 season of Edgewood football.
And there's a direct snap.
There's another direct snap to Duncan.
And as you see right there on that play, both Lefevre and Duncan, which are going to be your primary 2 in the back right there, to try to most confuse you on whether it's going to be a run or a pass. Right there, you see that the snap did go into Duncan's hand, and it looked like he was a little surprised, so it might have accidentally gone to him, because the play didn't seem designed for a run for him.
No gain on the play, so 3rd and goal at the 3. That's and Mitchell's going to call their second timeout of the half with 6:58 to go before halftime.
Very smart usage of timeouts. A lot of times people hold on to timeouts just for like just kind of like for like the end of a half, and just so they have a time for stoppage. But when you're a team like the Blue Jackets, who specialize in wearing down the clock, you can use those timeouts for other important things, like if you don't like how the defense is set up, go ahead and call a new play. If you think a player is out of position, call a timeout so they can go ahead and get that player into position. Sometimes we get a little too focused on saving those timeouts for that end of half, end of game situation. Timeouts, it's really nice to see Coach Pritchett use timeouts to help fix his team and get them in the right position.
As the Mustangs, and Mitchell's running their game plan to succession, keeping this Edgewood defense on the field and keeping Skylar Curtis off of it. As we got 6:58 to go here before the half. Mitchell knocking on the door, 3rd and goal at the 3.
We got Lefevre and Duncan as the 2 in the backfield.
Looks like Lefevre is the one that's going to take the snap. Nope, direct snap to Duncan. He's going to get to the corner. And he is going to get in for the touchdown, his second of the night.
And again, just this big, unstoppable force that basically requires two people to tackle him. Once he got to the edge and there was only one person in front of him, you knew he was going to get in because, like I said, you need two people to stop him. Just an excellent job. And like I said, really love that setup where you have both your quarterback and your running back basically in the same position and have requires a lot of the center's dexterity in snapping the ball, but makes it for a very effective offense.
And this time it is Lefevre on the keeper. Squirts past an Edgewood defender for the 2-point conversion. So it's now 14-7, Mitchell on top.
And an excellent response by the Blue Jackets after Curtis basically has a highlight drive, just getting the offense and getting the lead just as soon as the second quarter starts. Excellent response. And now Mitchell has the lead again. In these 4 games that we have had since the series has started up again, we haven't had a close game. It's always been a blowout one way or another. I think we might be in the running for our first contested game between these two, because both of these teams feel like they're going to continue trading punches.
2015, it was 22-6 Edgewood. 2016, 42-0 Mitchell. 2017, it was 36-7 Mitchell, and then last year, 26-7 Edgewood. So we've definitely seen more scoring in between both of these teams than we have in the last 4 years, because it was always one-sided. So here is Edgewood. Is going to get returned by the 15. He's got a hole out to the 35. That is number 34 for Edgewood, Brody Schaefer. So Edgewood will get the ball at the 37-yard line. As Skylar Curtis going to now orchestrate another drive. She got 3 at the bottom, 1 at the top of the screen. Wiggins in motion. Curtis going to give it to Wiggins, and he's going to get laid out at the 38.
Yep. Kind of a pre-snap motion play for Wiggins to try to get him wide open, but Mitchell was able to read that out immediately and just knock him down for a very minimal gain.
Gets a gain of 2 as the ball is at the 39, 2nd and 8. For the Mustangs. 3 to the top. Oh, Mitchell's going to get called for movement.
Well, we'll check first to see if maybe there was movement on the Edgewood side or not.
Official
Nope.
down here has already indicated that it's on the Blue Jackets. So it will be a 2nd and 3 at the 44 for the Mustangs. Always like how I notice when Edgewood breaks the huddle, the center is always the first one up to the ball before the rest of them get out of the huddle. Curtis, wide open is number 21.
And that's Parker Harrington.
And there is Parker Harrington, the 6'4", 200-pound senior, converted now to football player for the Mustangs. He gets a first down in Mitchell territory
And
That's
I actually did see that in their little warm-ups. He's able to run a really good slant route, able to kind of curl, maybe using a little bit of his basketball skills to kind of like curl the edge right there on a pick and roll, so to speak.
Curtis with a couple spin moves just past the 40-yard line. Parker Harrington, athletic family. His mom, graduate of Valparaiso High School, and played basketball for Ball State University. Dad, Jeff Harrington, Edgewood graduate, was the JV coach the last couple seasons, and due to his job, he will no longer be coaching the JV team. As Edgewood now under a new basketball coach, it's Matt Wadsworth comes in from Whiteland to take over the Mustangs after J.B. Neal went to Bloomfield. Curtis. And that is Shane Wickens, and he is going to be dropped down. After the quick pass.
And you've noticed already that, as we mentioned in our opening, the offense has already started to change a little bit into more of a passing offense, as you can see.
Parker Harrington's sister, Caden, a freshman here at Edgewood, on the volleyball team and will play basketball as well. Curtis going to find Harrington. Man draped all over Harrington, and they're going to say incomplete. Edgewood fans want a flag, but they're not going to get it.
Yeah, if anything, I would put that on Curtis from throwing that a little too low. I would have put it up just a little bit higher. Should have been no reason for Harrington to have to dive for that pass. So a bit of a miscue, and now we got fourth down and a punt coming, but hopefully for Edgewood being able to flip the field.
And Coach Rosenberg wants a timeout. So this will be his first timeout with 3:44 to go in the first half. So this is, of course, the red turf here at Edgewood High School, the only red field, green field in the state of Indiana. This came, of course, from Eastern Washington, was the first one to have the red field. Of course, the non-traditional fields all started when Boise State came up with the blue field, the Smurf turf. And now several schools have, of course, tried to duplicate that in different forms. Coastal Carolina, Central Arkansas, Eastern Michigan, among others. I know there's a red field at one of the high schools down in Texas, and I know that, of course, Barrow, Alaska, which is, of course, way up in the Arctic Circle, they have a blue field, of course, but
I think that's natural.
That has to be natural, being that far north. And, of course, they can't really have grass up there, so that's natural. So turf field up there, but those are where some of the other non-traditional fields.
And it looks like Coach Rosenberg decided to go for it, as now Curtis is out on the field.
Curtis gonna drop back. He's gonna take off. He's got some room if he can just get to the edge, and he does. He's gonna get the first down.
Just an excellent job waiting for his blockers, having a lot of patience as a runner to not just try to cut up the field and brute force your way, taking the angular way to try to distance yourself from the defender while gaining as much yards as possible. Excellent job by Curtis. Don't know if that was the play call from Coach Rosenberg, but he'll take it.
Taking it any way he can get it. Gain of 19 for Skylar Curtis and keeps this drive alive. This is Brody Schaefer. He goes straight up the middle, just inside the 20.
I believe that was the first design run of the last two drives, I think.
Gets it.
Oh, besides the first, the 1 yard dive for the touchdown, that is.
Gain of 1 for Brody Schaefer. We're going to see a lot of him now this year after the graduation of Levon Bellamy. And she got 3 receivers. And this is Curtis. Gets a block from Schaefer. He's going to make a couple of Mitchell defenders miss. He's going to get inside the 10.
Definitely feel this offense finding a lot more of a rhythm. That first quarter, those first couple of drives, just something felt off about them, like the offense didn't know what to do, but it feels that things have kind of finally fallen into line here.
It's going to be 1st and goal at the 9 after the 10-yard pickup by Curtis. And we've seen again that dual threat ability that Curtis possesses. Brody Schaefer going to push his way toward the 5. It's going to be a 2nd and goal for the Mustangs. Three yards for Schaefer. Schaefer struggled at first, but I think he's starting to come into his own in this offense.
Mm-hmm. Daniel Wilson just checked in, had some nice carries during his season last year. Watch out for him on this play.
2nd and goal. Curtis going to keep it, and he is going to dive in for the Edgewood touchdown. 2nd of the night for Skylar Curtis.
Excellent play fake on the fake to Wilson, and then dives, able to just squirm his way in. As I mentioned, he's excellent at being able to stop on a dime and cut with the ball. That may look like a simple 5-yard touchdown, but that required a lot of cutting and juking around to find that hole, because that hole was very small.
And the kick is no good.
And this is the first game in the new renewed series between Edgewood and Mitchell that both teams have multiple touchdowns. So as we said, we finally have a game between these two teams.
And these two schools aren't that far apart. Mitchell located in southern Lawrence County, just about 7 miles south of Bedford. They're a 2A school, about a 45-minute trip maybe from them up high 37, now 69 to State Road 46 and over here to Ellettsville. So again, these two schools familiar with each other, hadn't played in football for a while, renewed their series, and have been the season opener now for the last 5 seasons.
Now, with only one timeout and a minute 29 remaining on the clock, I would not be surprised if Mitchell basically just runs out the clock here. Maybe not with a kneel down, but doesn't go to the air here. Especially since they will get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, they have one timeout remaining. Edgewood has 2. As looks like Lefevre is going to pick it up, and he's just going to have to scramble forward. As we've got a minute 26 to go before the break.
Sign of a 28-man roster when your quarterback is playing on the kick return.
Yeah, you're going to have to, I mean, every player on the Mitchell roster has to go both ways, because there's not a lot of depth there, as the ball will be at the 23-yard line for the Blue Jackets.
Lefevre and Duncan in the backfield.
And there is a run for Duncan.
decent run for the first one, as I mentioned. Probably just trying to run out the clock, maybe see if they can get a big run here.
And a fumble, and Edgewood recovers it.
And that's the last thing you wanted if you were the Blue Jackets. And as I said, that's the risk of running such a unique offensive set, is that you need to be precise with your snaps and need to both players know that the ball could come to you at any minute if it's not snapped perfectly. And this is huge.
As now Edgewood gets the ball.
And they have 2 timeouts left, so they can still have the option for the run.
1st and 10 at the 24. Curtis. He's going to just have to take off. He's going to get inside the 20.
Exceptional running in confined spaces. That should have been a sack, but Curtis was able to turn that into a 5-yard gain.
Edge was going to take a timeout. That's going to be with 44 seconds to go. But it has been basically 2 players for both, 2 players show tonight. It's been Dorian Duncan for Mitchell with 2 touchdowns and Skylar Curtis for Edgewood with 2 touchdowns.
But that's expected of a senior quarterback when you're one of the returning players from a team who made it to the sectional championship.
And what they lost in Levon Bellamy, 183 carries, 1,634 yards, 23 touchdowns, 8 receptions, 222 yards, 3 touchdowns. He completed 1 pass for 43 yards. He also had an interception return for a touchdown against Madison.
It all felt like the same game as well.
And we talked about it before we went on air. Levon Bellamy, probably one of the most successful years for any Edgewood athlete.
Yeah, we actually got a record book here before we started our broadcast tonight, and he's actually on some top 10 lists for career, even though he's only played 1 year.
Here is the pass jump ball, and it is incomplete.
That was very much...
And it was Parker Harrington, number 21.
And that was very much a box out by Harrington, because that was a bit of an underthrown ball and was nearly intercepted. But great job by Harrington to kind of get that ball out of the way. And now we set up a 3rd and 5. But love the confidence. You can definitely tell this is a different offense from last year, taking shots like that down the field.
3rd and 5. Curtis shotgun. 5 receivers. And he's going to just take off and go up the middle. He's going to get down near the 10. That's going to be good enough for a 1st down.
Precision running in closed quarters. That is basically the motto for Skylar Curtis. Just excellent job. And amazing footwork.
Edgewood's got 1 timeout left. They got about 23 seconds. They're going to go 5 wide. It's going to be Curtis. Makes the defender miss. Got a block. Got to get to the outside, inside the 10.
And that's probably going to prompt the last timeout.
And Rosenberg is looking at the clock, and he's going to call it right now with 2 seconds to go. It's going to be a gain of 4 for Curtis. as he has run the ball 3 times on this drive. They're going to go with a field goal here.
Yep, going for the field. Definitely understand this. There was only enough time for one more play. Might as well try to get the points.
It is up, and it is good. That is going to be Andre Atkins.
And what a way to end the half, as we get to see a lot of Duncan right there, just bursting through the line.
As we see the highlights, there's Mitchell throwing the ball. I think that's the only completed pass for the Blue Jackets so far. But this guy, Dorian Duncan, is a load. 2 touchdown runs for Mitchell so far. And he gets into the end zone. And then it is Skylar Curtis taking off and doing what Skylar Curtis does, getting first downs and moving the ball into Blue Jacket territory. And then here it is, that's Brody Schaefer with the run down near the 1-yard line. That's Dorian Duncan. Here's his second touchdown run of the night. And then it is Skylar Curtis to the end zone, diving in as we're at halftime. Edgewood leads 16-14 here on Smithville Sports.
Hi, I'm Christy McBride, Director of Hoosier Hills Career Center. So part of what we do here at the Career Center is to make sure that we are preparing students for college, careers, and beyond. Our goal is to make sure that those students that come into our center have marketable, transferable skills that they can use in a variety of locations, or to at least give them those entry-level skills where they can keep climbing up the ladder and learning more. So Hoosier Hills Career Center offers opportunities for any student. Typically we have juniors and seniors that come to our program, but because we're physically attached to Bloomington North High School, we have freshmen and sophomores who come. We are seated in Monroe County, but we service Owen County, Morgan County, and Greene County. We have 5 different school districts that allow us to serve 9 different schools. So we have quite a broad spectrum of folks that we can serve here at the Career Center. We offer close to 200 dual credits completely free of charge to our students. So students can come out with a technical certificate, or if they're really hardworking and they combine their technical skill dual credits and their academic dual credits, they actually can get to an associate's degree. Last spring, we were awarded a grant that is through the Department of Workforce Development called the Skill Up 3 grant. And that allowed for us to bring the Emergency Medical Services program to Hoosier Hills Career Center. Super excited about that program, not just with the dual credits that are offered, but we've had numerous students ask about what's next. They may take a health science class and say, well, I really want to go and do something what about on the ambulance? I want to work on the ambulance, or I want to work in the ER. So it really made sense to listen to the students and say, what's next?
My name is Mike Hendricks, and I'm an instructor here at Hoosier Hills Career Center, and I teach the EMT program. I started in 1983 as a first responder, and also became a CPR instructor in 1983. Have been continuously certified as a CPR instructor, and I've also been in EMS continuously since then. Been an EMT and then an advanced EMT. So the EMT course is approximately 160 didactic hours, meaning lecture type hours. This class runs for the entire school year. And by the time we have all of the sending schools come in, get settled, and then by the time they have to leave early to catch their buses, we get about 2.5 hours of quality education time in. So I try to make this training as realistic as I can, knowing that high school students don't have a lot of background to draw from. So we teach in teams. I make the students responsible to each other. A lot of the homework is taught in a team concept where they have to work together. We practice as a team, and we are responsible to each other for our actions or inactions. Because in EMS, we have to work together as a team. If we don't, then our care suffers and the patient suffers. So everything is based on cooperation and respect, as well as a hierarchy of leadership. So we also use a student team leader. So we learn a chain of command in this class as well. We have students who come in from the fire science program. I have students coming in from the medical technology class. And then I have students who come in with no other background whatsoever. When they leave the program, I have students who will go to college and use this for allied health, such as respiratory therapy. I have students who will go into nursing. I've had students go into the military and use the program there. And I've had students go straight into employment, working at a fire department or an ambulance service. And I'm proud to say that I have 2 students right now working together in Martinsville on an ambulance. So the students do get to graduate and go into real-world experience. So it's mostly high school seniors. And because of the age requirement, we want students to be able to test and get certified by the end of the school year. So in other words, we want students who will be 18 by the end of May. So the aspects of the training are, this is a fully credentialed National Registry EMT program. That curriculum is regulated by the Department of Transportation, and it's administered by the Department of Homeland Security. So we meet all the requirements through Indiana, through Department of Homeland Security, and then as required by National Registry. So the students will earn their National Registry certification first, then they can transfer that to a state of Indiana certification. The testing is in 2 parts. One is there's a skills or hands-on portion that involves 13 different skill stations.
The nature of the testing is very different than sitting down at a computer and answering questions or writing an essay. This is, how do you perform with a person strapped on a backboard or taking them from one position on the ground to a sitting position. It is just a very different type of testing environment.
The second part is there's a written test that's on a computer, and the computer is predictive in its analysis of whether a student or candidate will pass. And within the first 12 questions, that National Registry exam will know if you're going to pass or not. And it can take you from 70 to approximately 120 questions.
Mr. Hendricks, our teacher, just cares a whole lot about every single student. He wants everybody to pass. So he'll do anything he can to help them.
The advantage of taking the training here in a career center setting is the students or the candidates are getting the training now while they're young, and so potential employers such as the fire department are not having to pay for that training. These students graduate with their credentials, so they're already employable. They're ready to work. EMTs their skill sets are becoming more and more valuable as the population increases and as the need for more physicians and more healthcare workers increases. EMTs will be utilized more and more. There is a definite high demand.
We've actually had folks from Indianapolis. The Indianapolis EMT outreach coordinator came down and shared with our students and was trying to recruit them because the need is across the state.
I would highly recommend this course, especially in this setting, because it is a college level course. The students get 7.5 hours of college credit through Ivy Tech. Those transfer across the state. So if a student wants to go into nursing, if they want to go into allied health, they've got an excellent start to a college education program. I've had students who've told me they love coming to class every day because it's like Christmas every day. I'm always opening some new box and they're getting to see something new or experience something new, and every day's different.
More folks are trying to figure out what they can actually do to help others, which is heartwarming. You know, that's what we want to see. We want to grow that compassion, and these students absolutely want to do those things to serve. The ability for us to offer our students and folks from the community the stair-stepping ability to just keep going up that ladder and getting more training and going further with what you want to do for your profession, you know, that's really what it's all about.
My name is Tony Shantz, one of the owners of Legacy Living of Jasper, here where we offer senior services for folks that are needing independent living, assisted living, and memory care services. It's very unique, particularly for Southern Indiana. What we're bringing is a senior living community that typically you would only see in the big metropolitan areas around Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Louisville. And so what we have here is state-of-the-art independent living townhomes with gorgeous views that also have amenities that keep people independent and can enjoy independent life as long as they possibly can. And then we also offer a continuum of care in our main building where we have independent and assisted living apartments for residents that need more routine services, either on a daily or weekly basis. And then from there, we also offer our third service line is our memory care residences, where folks that have Alzheimer's or dementia or some form of those two diseases, we have specially trained folks that are on our memory care area that facilitate the needs of those people throughout the day. We really pride ourselves being able to serve under the assisted living umbrella and to offer high-end amenities such as a true dining experience that's open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at night, where people can order breakfast anytime throughout the day, a lot like you can at Bob Evans or Cracker Barrel. It really takes senior living to the next level. People socialize more and more. They want to be able to socialize outside of their residence, whether it's their townhome or their apartment. But our monitoring of their care needs doesn't stop inside the apartment or townhome. So it gives people the flexibility to mingle outside and enjoy the outdoor amenities such as our outdoor kitchen, our outdoor fire pit area. Give folks the peace of mind that they can, Mrs. Smith in one townhome can go visit one of her friends in another townhome, but on the way, if something would happen, she knows that she can press her pendant and we're there in a minute's notice. And that's one of the things I think that Smithville helps us by giving us a large bandwidth that we then distribute out to all of our customers here at Legacy Living of Jasper. And they have Smithville's technicians on the back end always there at a minute's notice to make sure that it does work, gives everybody peace of mind. We being experts in senior housing, which includes independent and assisted living, and not necessarily the long-term care in terms of what the nursing home operators provide, there was a huge need because folks that unfortunately need true assisted living services were being forced to move into a nursing home operation and thus being put in a more institutional setting where we offer a purely residential setting, but we're able to offer nurses and nursing assistants an opportunity to do what they went to school for, really enjoy working with the residents that we're all there to serve, but more importantly, just to sit down, talk, listen, and be part of their family. It was really important for us as a senior living operator to have a provider of fiber optics, in this case Smithville, to provide our Wi-Fi and telephone services because seniors nowadays are more attuned to smart devices such as iPhones, iPads, they're Skyping family members across the country. And so for us to be fortunate enough to have Smithville here in Jasper, Indiana, and I believe, to my knowledge, we're one of the first, if not the first, senior living community that's all fiber fed is just, it's extraordinary because myself as an owner and Teresa and her team that lead the property here on a daily basis, we've been surprised in a way just how good the services are. We have a number of residents that moved in since May 1st of this year that are very astute in terms of their abilities using a computer or smartphones or iPads, and so far they've been thrilled with it. Smithville was the only provider in the area that could meet all of our needs. There were other providers out there that, yeah, they could meet our needs on one avenue, but not the other. Smithville is definitely a one-stop shop. It allows us to provide high-quality bandwidth for our residents that want to access the internet, and then it also gives them high-quality telephone services, both locally, domestically, within the United States, and internationally. We can port their phone number into Smithville's system, which allows them to not have to send out notifications to family and friends saying that their telephone number has changed. You know, that's just something that Smithville lends to us inadvertently that makes us look really good in front of our residents and family members. If we didn't have Smithville Fiber, we would most likely have one provider for telephone service, one provider for Wi-Fi service, and the customer service just wouldn't be there. My message to other providers in the area or other businesses in general, by having Smithville is going to reduce your cost as an operator, but also increase your customer service to your own customers. If folks in the community have a loved one or someone that they know that may need or may want to inquire about senior living, whether it be independent, assisted living, or memory care services here at Jasper or the surrounding area, you can call our phone number at 812-559-0200, ask for Teresa, our executive director, or Kylie, our leasing director. One of those two ladies will take care of their needs and schedule a time and a tour of the campus and answer any questions that they may have. We're located here on the west side of Jasper. The address is 1850 West State Road 56, right across the street from Shiloh United Methodist Church.
As we welcome you back to the Mustang Corral here at Edgewood High School, Ellisville, Indiana. Mustangs on top of the Mitchell Bluejackets, 16-14. Glad you could join us for Edgewood Mustang football on Smithville Sports. Alongside Quinn Saturday, I am Nick Jenkinson. And Quinn, it's basically two players. It's Dorian Duncan for Mitchell and Skylar Curtis for Edgewood. But Andre Atkins put his footprint on this game with a field goal to give Edgewood the lead.
Literally put his footprint in this game. It was a very rough first quarter for Edgewood. 6-0 lead. Everything was going the Blue Jackets' way. Then on a third and 10, Curtis was able to find a hole up the middle and was able to get Edgewood their first down. Since then, he has been nearly unstoppable in leading this Mustang offense and is a huge reason why they have the lead. He reminds me a lot, at least in the way he handles himself. Evan Harrison, Zach Harrison. Zach Harrison, yeah. On our first year when we did that. But the big thing that I really have noticed is his ability to make small, precise cuts in very limited very limited space. He's able to turn on a dime and be able to carve out an extra 5, 6, 7 more yards that most people cannot do. So he's really showing off his leg. He showed off his arm as well, but he really showed off his legs in this first half.
Skylar Curtis, 2 rushing touchdowns for the Mustangs, 1-yarder with 10:28 to go before half, and then a 6-yarder with 1:29 to go before the break. Dorian Duncan, 2 touchdown runs, as well as Mitchell gets the ball back. Looks like Luke Lefevre, number 18, going to spin his way past the 30-yard line.
And Mitchell, for the most part, had a pretty flawless first half, except for that last drive with a minute left. Just a bit of a bad snap, and all of a sudden you have a fumbled ball and basically put Edgewood right into field goal territory. We'll see how they'll respond here as we start the second half. As they're in a more traditional offense. Oh, no.
Yeah, one Lefevre, he's going to fire it, and that is incomplete, in and out of the hands of Nathan Reynolds.
Look, it still had the dual backfield, but yeah, it looks like they are going towards more of a, at least on that first play, more of a traditional. Maybe, as I said, because of the mix-up in having both of them in the middle there at the end of the half, as it looks like Duncan hanging a little bit more to the left.
This time it is Dorian Duncan with the carry. By the way, that was the 6th pass attempt by Mitchell. Only one completion. Last year against Edgewood, they only threw it 3 times the entire game. Duncan gets it across the 35 to the 37. Be a 3rd and 5 for the Blue Jackets. Lefevre gonna fire it again to Reynolds, and Edgewood breaks that pass up, incomplete.
That was more of a, it's hard to kind of comment on that. The play was just really weird because it felt like the receiver routes didn't really complement each other. Like they kind of created more traffic there than was necessary.
I got to give Edgewood's secondary a lot of credit. They're breaking up a lot of their passes. They're getting their hands on those.
And here we still have yet to see a punt from Mitchell, as they will go for the little short punt.
Little short punt, a lot of pressure there, and it's going to take a bounce. It's going to be down at the about 34-yard line. I don't think Coach Rosenberg was happy with that because the one Edgewood player was right there to almost touch it. You can't touch it.
Unfortunately, I feel like he just kind of caught in the crossfire and couldn't really move because didn't want to accidentally step on it, so was basically kind of playing avoid the landmine.
So Edgewood's going to have it 1st and 10 at their 34-yard line. Be interesting to see if Mitchell adjusts with the way that Edgewood throws the ball. This time they're going to run it. And we're going to see Andrew Blushinger for the first time. Or Brody Schaefer, gets to run. As it's a gain of 8, 2nd and 2 at the 42. Curtis gonna just throw it way over the head of Wickens out of bounds.
Smart. Curtis has shown great awareness and adaptability so far in this game. He made some pretty big mistakes early on, but has clearly shown to learn from those mistakes, and instead of us potentially fumbling the ball away or getting sacked, just throw it away. Live to see another down. You got another down. It's 3rd and 2 now.
3rd and 2. This is a handoff up the middle. It's going to be Schaefer, and they're going to give him the 1st down.
Oh, that depends on when the knee went down, but I would say that's a little generous. But nonetheless a first down for the Mustangs.
And he just got it at the 44-yard line. Wickens in motion. Curtis throws it over.
And that's one thing that the Mitchell defense can immediately lock onto, is that whenever Wickens goes in motion, he seems to be the automatic target for Curtis on that play. So that is something that the Mitchell defense will need to lock onto. And in reaction, Curtis might want to start looking off onto second receivers as well, because some of these passes have been luckily not intercepted because the defender was turned around.
Curtis, nice screen pass to Brody Schaefer. He gets the first down near the 40-yard line.
Picture perfect screen pass. Basically, mock like you're a blocker, and then just slip past the defender that gets past you. Nice little over the top. And as I said, we talked about in the first half when he threw that excellent pass over the middle. There's already some chemistry between Curtis and Schaefer.
Brody Schaefer, a kid that didn't really see hardly any time at varsity last year, going to step up now in a huge way with the graduation of LaVon Bellamy. I have a feeling that this is going to be a lot of by committee this coming year in terms of your guys that are going to step up. Your Wickens, your Harringtons, your Schaefers, Blessinger, kids that, Daniel Wilson, kids that, saw some time last year but didn't see a lot of the carries. I mean, you graduated a lot of offense last year. Top receiver Parker Halls was a kid that graduated. David Brown graduated as well for the Mustangs. They had 14 seniors graduate for a 15 and 25 record through 4 years here.
Also had Ethan Jacobs, who is a nice change of pace back as well, who has gone down.
Ethan Jacobs, Logan Burkhart, Tyler Martin, Austin Heckman, your field goal kicker, Bryson Smith, Austin Schwartz. And you also had defensive guys like Zarek Priest, Tyler Welty, Jacob Walden, Jaden Street, and Colt Williams. So, you lose a lot of guys. But, again, it's just kind of that next man up mentality with your guys coming in. So, not sure what I guess Mitchell player down. Like a Mitchell player down on the far sideline. That is the case. You see top of your screen now, and he's able to. And that's Nathan Reynolds, too. So there's a guy you can't lose for Mitchell. You only got 28 players on your team. So not a guy you can afford to lose because he makes a big impact on both sides of the ball. So we'll get back to work here as the ball is at the 43. Fresh set of downs for Edgewood. Curtis shotgun. He's going to just take off up the middle. He's going to get to the outside. He's got the first down and more. He's inside the 20 and down near the 10-yard line.
And a big assist there from Parker Harrington on an excellent little chip block that allowed Curtis on the 50-50 to go to have a free path to the outside where he was able to break it open. Excellent job overall from the team. And as I said, Curtis, excellent footwork, not only in close quarters, but also in open space as well.
20. A 30-yard run for Skylar Curtis. And Curtis is going to take off again inside the 5, down to about the 3-yard line.
Definitely seeing a lot more designed runs, seeing the offensive coordinator really start to get into a rhythm right now in terms of play calling. These play calls have been very consistent and have found consistent success.
We have a player down for Mitchell as Nick Mundy, number 24, is on the getting checked out by the training staff. Great shot here by our camera crew to get this shot of the training staff working on him. While we have a moment, we want to thank our crew, the hardworking women and men behind the scenes. You've got Noah Barajas, Nate Alarcon, Jeremy Nutter, and Annette Bruner on the cameras. You've got Rob Ramsey and Nadir Noon in the truck, and you and I up here doing commentary, and we thank them all for their hard work and everything they do. And we got a lot left just getting started this season. We got football coming up, Bloomington North next week, and then, of course, we go into basketball season with both Edgewood boys and girls basketball as well as Bloomington North boys and girls basketball. So a lot to look forward to throughout the 2019-2020 school year, and we thank them for everything that they do.
Yep, and a couple of highlights for the upcoming season include our once every 2 years trip towards your fate, a rivalry that has shaped you, North versus South in basketball.
Yeah, that's going to be a dandy this coming year with Anthony Leal from Bloomington South committing to IU, and also Noah Jager from South committing to Army, and not to mention some other games that are going to be fun this year. As, of course, a lot of coaching changes here at Edgewood as Gary Sims retakes over the girls basketball program. Matt Wadsworth now taking over the boys program. You got a former Edgewood Mustang, Cooper Bybee, walking onto the IU basketball team, so that's exciting for all the Edgewood fans after 2 years at Olney Central Junior College in Illinois. So a lot to look forward to, and of course next week we'll be over at Bloomington North. Skylar Curtis hands it off to Brody Schaefer, and he's in the end zone for his first score of the night.
Excellent job. And the way that Curtis has dictated the game, you immediately noticed that the defense hesitated on that on the handoff, expecting him to take it to the outside or go for the play action pass, giving just enough hesitation for Schaefer to be able to barrel his way in, find the hole, and get to the score for his first score of the season.
As Atkins is going to come on to try to add the extra point. This one is up, and it is good, as it is now 23-14, Mustangs on top.
That's 17 straight points for the Edgewood Mustangs. And right now, Mitchell, this is a huge drive for Mitchell. I'm not going to say that they need to score on this drive, but they're going to need it to get some momentum back because everything is leaning towards the Mustangs at this point.
Yeah, Edgewood in control right now, leading 23-14. Again, all-time, Edgewood leads this series 11-7. The last now 5 seasons, it's been tied at 2 with, the series renewing back in 2015. Edgewood will travel to Monrovia next week. It's the first time the Mustangs will face Monrovia since 1998. As all time, this will be the 25th time those two schools have met. And here's a run by Lefevre out past the 40-yard line. Couple schedule changes for Edgewood this year. Northview is off the schedule along with Cascade. Cascade left the Western Indiana Conference, which means that this will be, when we get to the crossover, there will be one extra team in the West, and they will have to figure out, the lowest team will have to figure out a game to schedule that week. There are a couple teams in the state that have open dates, as then next year the crossover will actually be done, and they're going to go split the conference into big school and small school divisions. So that is a run for by Duncan for the Blue Jackets. Gain of 1, so 2nd and 9. So you see just one receiver, kind of what Mitchell has run all night long. Lefevre got time, and that is the 2nd completion of the night.
But there is a flag.
And that was Dane Pritchett.
We'll see what this is.
As no indication yet. Officials still discussing.
And it looks like they're just going to pick it up, maybe? No, it's going to be holding on the defense. Okay.
So that is a automatic first down for the Blue Jackets. It's going to put them into Edgewood territory.
Looks like the cornerback was getting a little too hand-on
And Coach
in
Rosenberg
coverage.
not happy with that call. Lefevre, he's got a man wide open, and it is caught. And it's a tackle from behind, as that is Monday number 24. And now he comes up, looks like he's holding this back a little bit.
Excellent rollout. You always got to be careful, especially with running teams, about the shot down the field, because you always want to allocate your sources to the box. But whenever there's that one man and he can beat coverage, it becomes very dangerous.
Here is Duncan, and he just barrels his way, he just slaps a defender on his way to the end zone for the Mitchell touchdown.
That's gonna hurt in the morning. That's gonna hurt right now, actually.
That's his 3rd score of the night.
And as I mentioned, literally it takes 2 people to take him down. And unfortunately, that one defender was kind of stuck in an island. And as you mentioned earlier, Duncan did not score because of hesitation. And that time he was full force. I'm just gonna barrel my way through. I am bigger than you. You are smaller. You will be on the ground.
And he was, as Duncan's going to go in for the 2-point conversion.
And this was exactly the response that Mitchell needed. As I said, Edgewood had to score the last 17 points. This was a much-needed retaliation by the Blue Jackets.
23-22, 7:36 left to go. A reminder, next week we are at Bloomington North, Bedford North, Lawrence, and Bloomington North, 7 o'clock. B&L at Martinsville tonight. North hosting Greenwood. Last year's meeting, B&L won 55-38. We will get to see now sophomore Reese Lozano, who had a great year last year, as a true freshman getting thrown to the fire for the Cougars.
Very promising to see Lozano, what he can do in his sophomore season. He also lost unlike Curtis, he has a lot of his weapons coming back. He did lose his main one, but he still has quite a few weapons, including Aaron Steinfeld
Cade Loffman.
and Cade Loffman, offering two really, really big receivers for him.
Not to mention Ben Heitink returns, Xavier Trueblood. So there are a lot of weapons. A 2-8 team last year, and they definitely are looking for big things this year. Ball is picked up about the 15, and he's got a lot of room past midfield.
And that's Parker Harrington.
Parker Harrington past the 35-yard line. What a run for Parker Harrington. Again, played basketball. Did not play last year, also a golfer. And he's going to spend his senior year playing football, and Coach Rosenberg is happy to have him.
Absolutely. Maybe Rosenberg just has good luck with one-year rentals.
I got Levon Bellamy was a move-in from Iowa last year. His cousin, Paulie Escobedo. Her husband, Angel Escobedo, is the IU wrestling coach. Curtis going to fire it, and this time it is picked off.
Yeah, that was severely underthrown.
Now they have a player down once again, and that's Mundy again.
Pass intended for Quentin Fortier, who has seen a lot of snaps, but that's the first pass thrown at him. Just went a little too far out, and the kind of outran the pass in a way. Granted, we got to put blame on Kurt, as we do have an injury.
Another player down as well, as all the Mustangs have taken a knee on the
That's
sideline.
Curtis.
And that's Skylar Curtis. Great shot by her crew. As you see the Mustangs, and luckily Curtis up and going to walk underneath it, under his own power.
And that would make a lot of sense on why that ball was so underthrown. Likely was hit as he was throwing.
But Mundy's still down for Mitchell. Now he is up. He's going to try to walk it off on his own.
And he's very crucial because he not only got that interception, but also had the big reception on the other end to set up the Duncan third touchdown.
This is his third time that he's been banged up. And he is really slow to walk to get to the sideline. You know, we mentioned the North game last week. So that Reese Lozano spent time down at the Peyton Manning Passing Academy in Louisiana this summer. And, of course, they always have college quarterbacks counselors. And I know Lozano spent a lot of time with Jake Fromm, the Georgia quarterback. So, not a bad guy for a high school sophomore to learn from. As college football gets underway officially tomorrow, just 2 games tomorrow, with most of the games starting next week. So here is Mitchell running the ball, as that's Duncan. It'll be a second down. Only 20. Gain of 6. As it's Duncan, gonna reverse field, and he's just going to keep going past the 25-yard line. He does not look like he's slowing down at all.
Looks like a little bit coming out of half, but he's definitely regained his form from the first half. Great recognition to see that the angle to the right was blocked, cut back, showed a little bit of footsteps.
It's going to be, Lefevre just got dropped. And he is still down. I think that was Tristan Bland who put a lick on, and that was Bland that put a lick on Lefevre.
Yeah, that was definitely one, and he don't want to get into speculation, but great shot by our crew, but yeah, he definitely just got the stuffing knocked out of him, literally.
Again, great job by both training staffs to get out there, and I'm looking down here to see who they're working on the Edgewood sideline. Wondering if they're still working a little bit on Skylar Curtis. Can't tell a number. But man, Lefevre, as you see on the screen, top of the screen, he is basically stopped in motion, and now another player for Mitchell. I think he's just getting worked on because he's cramping up. Looks like.
And you always see this in that first game, because like I said, this is even in those practice games, you're still not going at 100%. You're going at like 80, 90%. This is the first time you go 100%, and sometimes it's just a bit of a violent reaction. You start getting hit. You're not facing people that know you, who aren't going to like flat out knock you down. And that was definitely a situation where Lefevre basically got the wind knocked out of him.
As we are back to action now. It's going to be a 2nd and 10 at the 26. It's going to be the direct snap. That is Dane Pritchett, number 9, with the carry. Gets to the 32. Gain of 6. 3rd and 4 for Mitchell. It's like it's another handoff, another direct snap.
That was Pritchett again, and he did not get the first down there.
It seems like even though Lefevre's taken a lot of the snaps tonight for Mitchell, it doesn't feel like they really have a traditional quarterback. I know he can throw, but it seems like it's just kind of the same thing. They do a lot of direct snaps. And right now with Lefevre out, I think this is what you're going to see.
Yep, back to the two backs, and number 21 for Mitchell kind of twitched up, and that's going to be a false start. And that's really huge because that takes a 4th and short into a 4th and long.
Not a lot of penalties tonight for either team. Ball now at the 27. They're going to punt this away. A lot of contact on that punt. And this is going to go taken right at the 50. And that's Andrew Blessinger, number 10. He's a junior, kind of the backup quarterback last year to Skylar Curtis. And he's going to be used in several different ways this season.
Mm-hmm. Excellent athlete, and Curtis definitely has a hold on the quarterback position for the rest of the year as long as he's healthy. So definitely want to still be able to get good usage out of Blessinger, who, like I said, a really good athlete overall.
So 1st and 10 at the 43 for the Mustangs in Blue Jackets territory. Curtis throwing it right over the middle. Perfect pass. And that's to Shane Wickens.
And that's exactly the kind of pass that you're going to see. Nice little seam pass to Wickens. And again, and this time, a pass designed specifically for Wickens that wasn't a pre-motion snap one. So already trying to mix it up a little bit.
1st and 10 at the 27. Brody Schaefer. Can he use his blockers, get past the 25? And where we saw Schaefer struggle earlier, he has really started to settle down, use his blockers, and he's had a nice night.
Definitely. I feel like that huge catch at the beginning of the second quarter really gave him a lot of confidence, because ever since then he has been playing with a lot more swagger.
Gain of 4. It's going to go right back to Schaefer, and he's going to go right down to the 20-yard line. And this is going to bring up a 3rd down. Mark him down at the 19, so another gain of 4, 3rd and 2. Curtis gets the play.
And I feel like this is 4-down territory if they're unable to get the 1st down here, especially with how close this game has gotten.
4 wide receivers, 1 in the back. This will be Schaefer, and he kind of flips his way toward the 15. And they are
kind of did a somersault into
they're going to give him the 1st down.
Definitely earned it.
Looks like the ball placed at the 14, so a gain of 5 for Brody Schaefer.
Bottom of your screen, Parker Harrington in one-on-one coverage.
And he's going to look to Harrington. He's beat his man. Oh, he tries to make the one-handed grab incomplete.
Yeah, just overthrew him just a little bit. That was a perfect opportunity. Just put a little too much mustard on that because he had the separation.
He had the man beat. Tried to make the one-handed grab. Second and 10 here. This is Skylar Curtis. Again, great job by our camera crew tonight. And another Mitchell player down. So we got an official timeout. looks, it's cramp. I mean, it's a lot of cramps.
I mean, these are definitely, these first couple of weeks in the football season, while it's still the summer season, you know, even if it isn't like in the 90s, while it is cooler and not in the 90s right now, it still has that heavy humidity in the air. So you're still going to be feeling the weather right here.
Temperatures today were in the upper 70s. I mean, we're expecting some cooler weather here the next couple days. Edgewood's at Monrovia next week, then host Cloverdale, then week 4 it's Owen Valley over in Spencer, then South Putnam at Indian Creek, Brown County, and then October 11th they get to go play Bloomington South. That's a new wrinkle in the schedule since Cascade left the conference, and Edgewood all-time against Bloomington South is 1-9. They have not played since 1992. Edgewood only win came in 1984, 14-12. And then they will host, of course, the WIC crossover. And as we mentioned, this is going to be the last year of the crossover because of Cascade leading the conference. They invited Linton to join. Linton declined, so you leave 11 teams. So the final team in the West Division, it's how you finish is who you play in the other division. Right now, the final team in the West will actually have to find an opponent, it looks like, for that game. Next year, conference gets divided. The big school division, which will be Edgewood, Owen Valley, Northview, Indian Creek, small school, Sullivan, North Putnam, South Putnam, Greencastle, Cloverdale, and West Vigo. What's your thoughts on the crossover?
It's unfortunate because it's always been like it's kind of been a big staple, that nice little experiment that we kind of had for the past couple of years. So it's sad to see it go, but I can definitely understand if you don't have the resources to make it go naturally and you're just kind of forcing it to go along, then I think it's for the best to change things up.
Yeah, I think they were trying to find a team like Linton who, you know, would be a good fit, but I think a lot of it's travel. I think a lot of it's just, you know, how they felt going up against some of these bigger teams. And Brody Schaefer is going to work his way to the end zone for his second touchdown of the night.
Delayed handoff to Schaefer worked brilliantly, as it was able to allow the blockers to create that hole, and Schaefer able to wedge his way in through weave his way through some defenders, and a big touchdown for Edgewood. Have a chance to make this an 8-point game now.
As Atkins will be on to kick the extra point. It is up. And it's good. He is 3 for 4 tonight. And it is now 30-22. Edgewood over Mitchell with 1:49 left here in the third quarter. Well, as you said, Quinn, it's you know, this it's been kind of one-sided. It's not been competitive the last couple of years, and now tonight we're getting what we were hoping for. These two teams going back and forth.
Yeah, definitely. This has always been a thing where one team has always been clearly the better team that year. We're seeing two evenly matched good teams right now duking it out here in the first week. And a lot of them, they're feeling it right now. They are definitely feeling the pain right now, and they're invested. Both sides feel they can win, and we're definitely gonna have a showdown to the last minute.
Mitchell, a 2A team. This is a second other big team that they play. They will play Madison later in the year, as you got Springs Valley, West Washington at home, along with Eastern Green, and then they go to Crawford County. Then Madison comes to Mitchell, September 27th, October 4th, Providence, Paoli, and then at Perry Central.
And the ball's
The
loose.
ball is loose. Edgewood thinks they have it. No call yet. They're going to say Mitchell had it.
That ball squirted out like a bar of soap.
So they
Very lucky for Blue Jackets, very lucky to have recovered it.
ball at the 35-yard line. 8-point lead for Edgewood. It's the Edgewood band state championship band in 2018. Still rocking and rolling down there in the end zone.
And look who's back.
As Luke Lefevre gonna fire it, flag on the play.
And that's going to be a clear pass interference on the defense.
Yeah, they're gonna say interference. That was intended for Monday. And it is
And
against the Mustangs.
the thing that's going to frustrate the coaches the most is that was completely unnecessary because he was double covered. There was no need to push him.
And I really don't think he had a chance to catch that.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to put the ball at midfield after a 15-yard penalty.
Like, no flag is a good flag, but when a flag is completely unnecessary, that's what drives coaches crazy.
And this is a big run. It's going to be a first down for Nathan Reynolds as he gets pushed out of bounds inside the 30.
And it's good to see that these players who have been cramping up have been returning to the game. Reynolds also a player who had to go out for a couple of snaps back in and contributing in a big way.
So they're going to put the ball at the 29. 21-yard pickup for Reynolds. It's Lefevre with Duncan in the back, one receiver. It's going to be direct snap to Duncan, going to get a blocker and push his way to the 25.
You were mentioning about Duncan not running out of steam. I think he is starting to run out of steam a little bit now, or at least hasn't been able to find the holes that he was looking for, that he was able to get earlier in the game.
And the one thing that you notice, of course, Mitchell basically runs the same play over and over again. And you wonder coming up here in the next couple weeks when teams see film of you, how they're going to stop it. Edgewood's not been able to fully stop this offense tonight. There's another blocker. Looks like it is Reynolds on the carry.
Well, when you basically run a single formation with different with play variations, you have to excel in it for it to work. We've seen it all the time with a bunch of option offenses in both high school and in college. If you're able to excel in that, then it doesn't matter how much you defend for it. It will depend on how well you can execute it.
This is Duncan's going to barrel his way. Mitchell's going to get the first down. Just down by 8, approaching the end of the third quarter here. Neither team has used a timeout this half, so that is critical going into the fourth quarter. It's Duncan going to get to the outside and just barrel his way toward the 5-yard line. And that's going to be the end of the third quarter. Edgewood leads Mitchell 30-22. Fourth quarter coming up next here on Smithville Sports.
The Tivoli Theatre in Spencer. Movies, shows and a warm atmosphere in this historic renovated theatre. See the latest films, a local show or various other acts. Just check the website to see what's on. Tickets are cheap. Most showings are $5 for adults and $3 for children, with concessions very reasonably priced. Regular free movies and special events are also a tradition at the Tivoli. So come on out to the Tivoli. You'll love it.
As we welcome you back here to the Mustang Corral here at Edgewood High School. Edgewood leads Mitchell 30-22 as we get ready to start the fourth quarter of play. That was an exciting third quarter as Brody Schaefer scored 2 touchdowns for the Mustangs in that quarter. Of course, now we are under the lights here at Edgewood High School, and this red field lit up, the only, of course, non-green field in the state of Indiana. Second year for the red turf. They were 3-3 a year ago on it, and now it is the home opener here against the Mitchell Bluejackets. Glad you could join us, of course, for Edgewood Mustang football on Smithville Sports alongside Quinn Saturday. I am Nick Jenkinson, and Quinn, we're coming down to the wire here for an exciting fourth quarter between these two teams.
It's definitely going to be, I definitely feel that stamina is going to play the biggest role here, because both of these teams have offenses that are definitely beating the defense, as we get a direct run to Duncan and he goes straight in for the touchdown.
3 touchdowns for Dorian, 4 touchdowns tonight for Dorian Duncan. This time from 3 yards out. As it is now.
And they're a 2-point conversion away from tying this game.
30-28. They're going to go for 2 to tie it up. Jump pass, and it is caught. That's Dane Pritchett with the reception, and this game is tied up at 30.
Excellent play call. Cannot praise that enough. Basically, is one of those like really quick short passes where you don't even have time to react. You're kind of just getting into your set, like, okay, here's the run, we're going to go ahead and stop it. Oh, someone's behind us now. That's excellent job by Pritchard, just to get to his position, get to his spot immediately so that the pass is very fluid in terms of just snap and then throw.
Mitchell's a team, again, that doesn't use the pass a lot, but they used it well on that one, and it's 30-30 here with 11:56 to go. A high-scoring affair tonight for these teams. Last year, Edgewood averaged 31.1, gave up 20.9, outscored their opponents 373 to 251. They were 4-1 in the WIC East a year ago, finished 4th after losing to Greencastle in the
Interesting
crossover.
approach right there. Sorry to interrupt you, but the nice little squib kick, trying to maybe get it off sides, doesn't work, and now gives Edgewood a bit of a shorter field. I can't say, even though it didn't work, I do like the play call. Try to catch Edgewood napping. Let them know that you cannot, even though we may look predictable, we're not. We are going to continue throwing wrenches into what you think we're going to do. And that's going to be really huge if Mitchell can continue to catch Edgewood off guard.
This is going to be the handoff to Wickens, and he's going to get taken down for a loss.
Yeah, that's always the worry on an end around. That if there's a blitz on the one side, that something that could turn into like a 40-yard gain could turn into a 6-yard loss.
We're going to put that back at the 35. So a negative 6 yards there for Shane Wickens. Curtis. Nice pass to Parker Harrington across the 45-yard line.
As I said, you will be seeing quite a bit of that, and that's going to be something that I think that teams are going to probably start breaking down in film. But he has that slant route down perfectly. I saw, like I said, in practice beforehand, we were seeing him complete that slant route, and as we see, that is the second time now that he's been able to convert on that. And a nice chunk of yardage taken back, make it third and manageable.
3rd and 5. This time it's Curtis pass to Wickens. Gets past the defender. And he gets past midfield, past the 45, and down near the 40. And it's going to be a first down for the Mustangs.
And that's got to be a good feeling for Wickens after getting stuffed back on first down to be able to not only get the first down, but get in such a satisfying way, being able to juke out your defender that would have stopped you for 4th and short and get a couple extra yards after the fact.
7 receptions, 38 yards, a touchdown a season ago for Shane Wickens. 5th best on the team. He and Parker Harrington will be battling for that top receiver position this season. Curtis, right up the middle, first down. He's got a hole to the 10, to the 5, touchdown, Skylar Curtis.
That acceleration, not only the craftiness to be able to cut in confined space, but to turn on the afterburners as well. Looked a little bit like Bellamy there, the way he immediately became faster than everyone else as he ran towards the end zone.
43-yard touchdown run for Skylar Curtis, his 3rd of the night, and Edgewood back on top. Approaching the 10-minute mark of this 4th quarter. Now it's going to be Atkins going for the extra point. And it is up. And it is good. 37-30 for the Mustangs on top. As you see the Edgewood band in the end zone, state championship band again. Great job by our camera crew tonight. Noah Barajas, Nate Alarcon, Jeremy Nutter, Annette Bruner, Rob Ramsey, and Nadir Noonan, the truck. You and I up here in the booth. Thank you to all of them for all their hard work throughout the season. What a dandy to kick off the 2019 football season here. High scoring affair between these two, 37-30. As the Mustangs get ready to kick it away.
And that all started because of the squib kick. Like I said, I am in favor of them trying to keep them off balance with unpredictability, but that's the risk that happens when you don't convert on it's not even a squib kick because it was more of like a straight ahead onside kick more than a squib kick, honestly. But regardless of the point, it was a big risk and it backfired on them. Now they'll have to score again.
Oh, and what a hit by the Mustangs on Reynolds. And you got a Mustang down. The training staff out to take a look at the young man, as well as Coach Rosenberg.
Reynolds on the return got it out to about the 27-yard line. There is a Edgewood player down for the Mustangs.
Looks like it's his arm.
Still not getting a number yet on who player is.
It's number 20, Blake Love.
Blake Love, who's made an impact tonight on defense. And he is helped off by the training staff. He's getting some water and gonna feel the sting a little bit. Good to see that he's okay. So we got 10-12 to go here. Great crowd tonight on hand here at Edgewood High School for the season opener. Beautiful night for football. Temperatures were in the upper 70s today and clear skies.
It was nice of Mother Nature to go from the upper 80s down to the upper 70s today.
This is Duncan with the carry. As both teams still have 3 timeouts remaining, Quinn. That's, always a key. You talked about how Mitchell used their timeouts in the first half, and both teams have saved their timeouts, all 3 of their timeouts for this quarter.
There is definitely a different philosophy between those timeouts in the first half and in the second half. The first half, I feel like there's a little bit more leeway to use them for other things. In a close game like this, both coaches are keeping those in a safe.
Looks like Lefevre with the carry for Mitchell. Interesting to see, with only the 28 kids that Mitchell has, how it will go throughout the season. Depth is playing a factor already. You got some guys banged up tonight, have been able to come back, but you can't afford injuries for this team.
Yeah, they've been very lucky in the fact that they have had the players come back, as Duncan, I think, barely gets the first down. And they will give it to him.
So ball at the 36. Approaching 8.5 to go here with a 7-point Edgewood lead. Edgewood on the road next week at Monrovia. Here's Lefevre. He's got blockers. He's going to try to get to the out of bounds, and he's going to fall short of the first down marker.
Got a gain of about 7 on there, or 8.
Put him at the 45. It's going to be a 2nd and 1. It's going to be direct snap. Doesn't look like he's going to get it. Going to fall short here. Duncan.
Well, that might be measuring time.
And they are going to stop the clock for a measurement. They have not brought out the chain crew just yet. Now they will. Getting a great job by our camera crew to get this,
And that is a first down.
they're going to give it, and it is a first down. So Mitchell keeps the ball and moves the chains. And this is crucial because, you know, with 7:56 left and the way that Mitchell runs their offense, you cannot afford to give Edgewood the ball back in this situation.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely I've been mentioning that don't necessarily need to score. They need to score on this drive.
First and 10 at the 46. This is a run, and it's a huge run for Duncan, and he gets the first down toward the 35-yard line into Edgewood territory.
Playing a little bit of classic pinball, but knocking off of those bumpers, just going from ricocheting from one defender to the next, kind of propelling him forward in a way. But yeah, he's definitely a player who lives for contact.
Kind of reminds you of like a Mike Allstott, you know, guy that's just a big bruiser. First and 10 at the 38. That's Lefevre. Going to get toward the 35.
Could definitely see this clock go under 4 minutes or under 3 minutes by the end of this drive.
This is the Duncan with the direct snap. Nice job by the Edgewood defense.
Yeah, they closed that hole just as soon as it got open. They closed it shut.
It's going to be
And they're going to need to do that 2 more times. Because as Mitchell has shown all game, they will be going for it on 4th down. If there is any reason to think about going for it on 4th down, they will go for it on 4th down.
It's going to be a 3rd and 6 at the 38. It is going to be Lefevre keeping it on the.
And that was a little indecisiveness from Lefevre. Both him and Duncan had the ball, and he wasn't letting go of it. He was a little bit of indecisiveness. I feel that if he would have at least taken it away from him and he'd be able to jump outside or just give it to Duncan, Duncan could have just started running over people. So that was just, like I said, a bit of indecisiveness ruined that play. And we got a timeout now from Mitchell.
And here we go. Here starts the timeout parade as Mitchell takes their first timeout with 5:24 left. And Mitchell now with 2 timeouts remaining. Edgewood with all 3. And I have a feeling that we're going to have a very long 5 minutes and 24 seconds left. But this is, of course, crucial. 4th and 5.
And they have committed to this drive now. By using that timeout, they have committed to this drive. Because if they turn the ball over, they won't be getting the ball back unless at minimum 3 minutes left. And with no timeouts. So they are that timeout was a committal to, we got to get this we got to get these 5 yards right now.
And the guy that's going to try to get those 5 yards, I guarantee you, will be Dorian Duncan.
And I can already guarantee you the Coach Rosenberg is telling them, do not jump off sides, because it's at exactly 5 yards right now. And that would be a huge get-out-of-jail-free card for this Mitchell team if they could get them to go off sides. Do not be surprised if they try a hard count right now.
This is going to be a huge play for the Blue Jackets and the coaching staff firing up the fans here at Edgewood. Student section tonight, raucous. And here we go. It is to Duncan. And he's not going to get it. He's going to get stuffed, and Edgewood's going to get it back.
Huge.
Stand up play by the Edgewood defense.
The game is won at the line of scrimmage, and the defensive line immediately was able to get underneath that offensive line and push them back. There was nowhere. Literally, Duncan would have to run over people to get anywhere, as there was nowhere to go. Amazing job by the defensive line to win that battle at the line of scrimmage and basically force the hand of Duncan and get pushed back. And right now, with 5:18 left, this is all about clock management.
It's going to be a handoff. It's going to be Brody Schaefer.
And in all honesty, if I am Mitchell, I don't call any timeouts and rather take the 2 timeouts with you and 2 minutes left. I would rather do that instead of stopping the clock right now.
Because there is a chance that you get the ball back. I mean, if you can stop Edgewood here.
Yeah, if you can stop them at least on a 3 and out. If they get a first down, then you got to start calling those timeouts. But for right now, there is just enough time where if they can get a 3 and out, they can still survive with their 2 timeouts left.
Play clock at 10. Down to 3. They get it off. And Curtis, again, it was an indecisiveness, and Curtis gets taken down.
Yeah. Saw that the blitzer was coming right at Schaefer and tried to make something out of it. Very lucky that he didn't lose, that he was able to hold on to the ball there.
Ball is at the 30, loss of 2. Down to 4 minutes now. As play clock at 5.
Watch out for a designed QB run here.
Curtis, dangerous, gonna throw it.
Oh, I don't. Yeah,
And they're gonna say incomplete.
yeah, it hit the ground.
And that stops the clock. I'm not sure about
That's
throwing the ball there.
That's why I thought we were getting a designed QB run, spread out the defense, and then go right up the middle.
Because now you're Mitchell. You are very thankful for that, because now you will get the ball back here with about 3.5 minutes left.
Oh, that was excellently played by Mitchell. The defense was able to stand tall there.
And there is the kick. Lefevre, he's going to let it bounce, and it's going to get a nice Edgewood roll inside the 20. Down to about the 16-yard line.
Touchdown at the 16-yard line where the
So it is 37-30, 3:31 left to go here.
Yeah, the game is basically on the Edgewood defense's shoulders right now, because at this point, I feel like this is the last drive of the game, honestly.
I think you're right, because if Mitchell can't score here, Edgewood's just going to run the clock out.
Yeah, and they'll have good enough field position where they'll be able to score themselves
It'll
and make
be-
it a two possession game.
It's going to be interesting to see, too, because Mitchell's not a throwing team if they try to use the sidelines to keep clock. They do have 2 timeouts. There is Lefevre, and he is going to the sidelines, and that is picked off.
That is a huge interception.
It's hard to see the
By number 9, Jake Rogers, the sophomore.
and that probably has just ended the game. Possibly. I mean, you
Possibly.
still have 3:20. You still have time left.
The same thing basically occurs from the last time they had the ball. Granted, the field position has been flipped greatly, but this is definitely a situation where you can't. You'll have to use those 2 timeouts and then just deal with the extra 30, 40 seconds of drained clock. Oh,
And
beautiful pass.
beautiful to Shane Wickens.
I think these last 2 plays show that Coach Rosenberg is perfectly content and fine with putting the ball in his quarterback's hand in the end of the game. Whether or not you think that passing the ball this late in the game is all dependent on how much you trust your quarterback. And right here, these last 2 plays, I think Coach Rosenberg is willing to put his trust in his quarterback.
First and 10 now, approaching 3 minutes to go here at the 32. As Curtis, it is a handoff, lots of room for Brody Schaefer
Inside the 25-yard line.
down past the 25. Mitchell still has their 2 timeouts, and they are going to use one of them right here.
Timeout by Mitchell. The ball was placed just outside the 23-yard line. It'll be second and 2.
So a 2nd and 2 coming up for Edgewood.
Definitely a bit of contemplation by Coach Pritchett on whether or not to call that timeout, and I don't blame him because 2nd and 2 is, it's going to take a pretty big defensive effort right now to make this a go to 4th down. This is a little outside of field goal range, so that is the hope that they can try to force a 4th down, a 4th down turnover. But that's basically the last hope, because if they get another 1st down, it's over. Because they'll be well within field goal range.
Mitchell now with just 1 timeout remaining. Edgewood last year 8-4. Lost to East Central in the sectional championship game here at Edgewood. That was 4A. They're back in 3A now after realignment. Curtis going to take off. And he's going to get the 1st down and more. He's going to bounce to the outside. And he's going to hit the corner from the end zone. Touchdown, Skylar Curtis.
As I told you, put trust in your quarterback and he will reward you. That was an excellent job, not only to see that, but basically put this game away by bouncing to the outside and getting a touchdown. Curtis might not be getting the passing yards that he did last season, but he is definitely going to be a much improved, most crucial part of this offense and this team's success with both his arm and his legs. And he showed tonight just what he can do with his legs.
4 rushing touchdowns tonight for Skylar Curtis. So huge to start the season. As Atkins kicked good, making it 44-30 for the Mustangs.
And while we get a chance, because I mean the game still isn't over, obviously, but I want to give a huge props to Mitchell, especially with the injuries that they have kind of been dealing with tonight. A lot of cramps, looks like, for being able to push Edgewood, and for props to Edgewood for responding. That first quarter did not look good for Edgewood. They looked out of sorts and discombobulated. But starting with Starlight Curtis on that first drive of the second quarter, they retook control of the game. Sure, you had Mitchell take back the lead at one point, but it never felt like Edgewood was true. It never felt like the game was out of Edgewood's control. Like they still had their pulse on the game from that point on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Edgewood has really controlled this game, and they're going to get another season-opening win here on the red field. I feel like this field needs a name. Like, what do you name it? It's like a red what? I feel like this needs a name. This field needs a name put on it, I feel like. Instead of the red turf, but
yeah. I was sad because I was trying to think of something, but I can't. Which definitely tells you it's going to be tough to come up with one if I can't come up with one on the spot.
So the Blue Jackets down by 14, 2:21 left.
And a big fumble.
Another fumble. Edgewood thinks they have it, but no, they're going to give it back to Mitchell.
Got it back to the line of scrimmage, 2nd and 10.
Duncan is going to just
Across the 30.
get past the 30 up to near the 35.
Have to think he's passed at least 150 rushing yards at this point.
And the clock continues to run here. As we are approaching a minute to go. Duncan gets near the 45 again. Next week, Bedford North Lawrence at Bloomington North. That could be a high-scoring affair as well, as that was a high score last year, 55-38. So
that's a basketball score.
We could see another high-scoring game as Mitchell has to go back and recover. And Lefevre brought down for a huge loss. The Edgewood students giving the Mitchell football team a nice little a send-off. As this game is about over now, and I'm not even sure if
they might just kneel down, honestly, at this point.
As Lefevre's gonna throw it. Pass is complete, and he gets out of bounds, so that will stop the clock. As the student section rocking the bleachers here, as we can feel it from up here, as they're right down in front of us. And this is Duncan, as he's going to end a big night for him. And he is slow to get up. As this looks like this will be it. As Edgewood is going to win 44-30. So a great way to open up the 2019 season as the Edgewood kids fired up, and here we go. It's this guy, Skylar Curtis, taking it to the house. One of 4 touchdown plays tonight. There's Brody Schaefer filling in for Levon Bellamy, who graduated. He gets a touchdown tonight. But this guy, Dorian Duncan, just bowls his way through the Edgewood defense. And then Curtis going to the air, but he keeps it on the ground, as it was all Edgewood tonight dominating this game. You see Duncan going in for the touchdown, and there is Curtis taking off, doing what he does. And he takes it to the house, as then Lefevre just throwing up a Hail Mary, and this one picked off by the Edgewood defense, as your Mustangs win 44-30. For all the hardworking women and men behind the scenes, for my partner Quinn Saturday, I am Nick Jenkinson. Thank you for watching, and good night from Edgewood.